welcome back, Arson fans, Arson friends, Arson family, Arson lovers. We're covering it all. We're back here for episode 2 of AB Reactions Wrestling, and I just finished up watching some Raw. It's just me tonight, and the hashtag AB picture. The ice is about gone, but we're still doing this thing. Well, tonight, let's start with it. Raw. What we're doing with this series, you saw our first one was on the Royal Rumble. It's going to be kind of a continuing deal. I'm going straight into Raw now. The plan is into SmackDown tonight, and so on and so forth, and get myself, other Arson Brothers views. It's going to be in and out, no specific set host or hostesses. But yeah, and with that, a little bit different, not just quite the reaction of just this show. I said I'm not going to do just Raw. I'll talk about kind of how since the last one we did at the Rumble, my feelings have changed and switched around a bit. As we know, sometimes in wrestling, things wrap around and fix themselves into a nice little package when it seems at dismay. Funny how that works. Anyway, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho opened up the show tonight. And Kevin Owens absolutely on fire on that microphone. What a promo. I mean, always is. Jericho, too, man. Hashtag 61 Minute Man. Just more continued amazing comedy. All of it. Getting everything that you want to over. Perfect. I thought the Thank You Strowman chants when he... So it was interesting just off what all happened. Just something fun to look at. Mick reading the name of the town from his hand after the last few weeks or what have you. I thought that was kind of entertaining. From there we went on. Sami Zayn and Chris Jericho had an absolutely phenomenal matchup. I thought, of course, two absolutely incredible wrestlers. Jericho, obviously one of the greatest of all time. Sami Zayn quite well on his way there. I think you're really starting to see, I see a lot and hear a lot even from criticism saying, when is it Sami Zayn? They're going to push him. They're not using him, blah, blah, blah. Man, to me, though, Zayn is in the middle of a push, and that was another huge win for it last night. Also, Tony Nese, we saw him taking on Mustafa Ali. I really kind of expected Ali to go over here just because they seem to be like they were trying to get behind this dude, but I love Tony Nese, like both of these guys. I thought this was quite a very solid match. Nese going over, looked good. The interview with Aries afterwards. First off, huge fan of Aries since he went to commentary, and even in that little interview segment last night. But hopefully, I feel like maybe that was setting up for Aries to return and jump into the cruiserweight division. Maybe give that some fire. And Austin Aries, phenomenal. So we hope that happens. But I thought that might have been setting up for that, teasing for it. I don't know. But it was interesting nonetheless. But I like that cruiserweight match. From there, Seth Rollins and Stephanie McMahon had their confrontation after Seth Rollins showed up, obviously, at NXT TakeOver this weekend, calling out her husband, Triple H. I thought that was fine. It was hot. It got everything fired up for what we know now was to come later in the show. So excellent. Great heel work by Stephanie, of course, as always. And Seth really starting to get some momentum as a babyface. They've kind of held back on that, but it seems to be definitely going full on. And I'm sure what happened later in the show can help that too. We'll get there. From there, we had the six-person tag, I guess you say. Some intergender to a degree action. It was Cesaro and Sheamus and Bayley versus the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson and Charlotte. I thought this was fun. Decent little match. Bayley got the victory. She's in, I think, the middle of a big push towards Mania. Is what's happening there. At least that's where I see it. I don't know. I did think it was interesting the first little bit of intergender interaction we saw in some time, especially in the new era of the women's division, if you want to call it that. But Charlotte interacting with Sheamus. I know it's all recently in a conference call, something like that. I don't even remember exactly what, that they didn't really want to do that yet at all. I know that's in professional wrestling kind of a thing right now, and different takes on that. But just something that I thought was interesting. I noticed probably means absolutely nothing at all, but it's what we're about here. From there, the coordination of Neville. Oh man, absolutely Neville. This evil Neville deal is phenomenal. He is knocking it out of the park. I mean, just the whole demeanor change. I thought it was great. I thought Rich Swann came across extremely. Came across extremely with that baby fire, exactly what you want. A great feud, just already in process, and more so here. I think there's still some stuff left on the table there, and I'm excited to see what's left because both guys doing great work. Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman from there. Honestly, it's one of those matches that when it got announced, you sort of felt like it never was actually going to happen, but I thought it was pretty cool. Braun coming out and destroying Chris Jericho up there at the commentary spot before the match, I thought just made Braun look even more so like the monster that he is and continues to be. The match was about exactly what I expected. I think the Roman interference was pretty much expected, but I don't even say that negatively. Expected it, but that's it needed. I don't know exactly what they're setting up. I feel like Roman and Taker, maybe Roman and Braun in Fastlane or whatever pay-per-view they run, but I thought it was perfectly fine. I thought it made Braun look even more monstrous, and you got Roman out there doing that thing, so I thought it was perfectly fine. Brock and Paul Heyman out next to issue the challenge to Goldberg. Again, I don't think anyone was shocked by that, but Paul Heyman, of course, as always, absolutely on it with the microphone. Brock looking intimidating. They've built it so much that I'm excited for this Mania match, to where in November, even the whole deal going in, I wasn't particularly excited, didn't know how I felt, to say the least. But it's been very unique, especially for Brock and the role that we've seen him in for, 2-3 years now, maybe more or something like that. But it's been interesting. It's growing on me. Matt Klein, prediction here. I think that match is going to end up being for the championship somehow. However, we get there, and then Brock gets that win and gets all of it back more than ever. But we'll see. We'll get there. That's where I'm feeling. Next, we got into, for me, the two most boring segments and matches in all of the night. But, not terrible. Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. This feud, I mean, it's okay. It was on the pre-show for a reason. This coming from historically speaking, at least, a pretty big Sasha Banks fan, and I don't hate on Nia Jax. I like kind of what's going on there, but this feud just doesn't have the fire, the hotness under it that I think they wanted, and I don't know why. I don't think it's necessarily even anyone's fault. I just think there's such other things going on in the women's division that it's getting all the focus on Charlotte and Bayley for that, and there can be and needs to be multiple stories within that division, and I get that. But this one's just one of the ones that, at least for me, and I don't know, maybe you love it, and that's awesome. That's spectacular, but it's just not really working much for me. I hope that we can get along with that and see what's in store for both of these for the future. I don't think it's going to hurt them anything like that. From there, also in this one, the Enzo Cass and Rusev and Jinder program, to me, it's just been an absolute mess. Some really good guys there, especially Enzo Cass and Rusev. I think Rusev's phenomenal. I think Rusev could be anything that you want or to let him be. Speaking on even a main event level, Jinder Mahal, he's fine. I'm fine with him there. He's a good hand to have around, as the Warrior said. But and then it's one of those things. I don't know. Tried it, didn't work. Don't have much to do with the guys. I get that. I understand, and that's fine. But I'm very over this. I hope, as they sort of said, it's the end of it. And I mean, I'm sure they know it's been bland, and it happens. So hopefully we'll move on from that. But then from the bland to the incredible hot, because it ended with, first off, an absolutely phenomenal promo by Triple H. Of course, always on point, man. I'd like to speak on the mic work tonight, just some promo work. And start Owens, Heyman, Jericho. Throw Jericho in there even. Heyman, Triple H, Seth even. Lots of good mic work on this episode. It's a fantastic episode of Raw. Let's just be honest, it really was. If you left the Royal Rumble match left a touch of a bad taste in your mouth, it did mine a little bit. I'm going to be honest, it's whatever. But I feel like, as it should, and it's like I said, funny how that works. It's like someone may know what they're doing somewhere, at least occasionally, but sort of wraps itself back up into a nice little package that makes Mania going forward look at least better than it did last night or after the Rumble, you have to admit. So I think we're all right. I think everything's fine. I think I'll speak back to the Rumble for a minute because this is a series going. And still, I was disappointed with the Roman number 30 spot. But looking at it now, that I've thought and saw Raw especially, it didn't change anything as far as the outcome. I feel like the WWE is absolutely having fun trolling the Royal Rumble. I don't know that that's the right move, but that's what they're doing. I don't know that that's what they're doing, but that's what I think they're doing. Is it funny? It is to some. It's not to some. It doesn't matter. I think we're still set up for a good Mania. I think they eradicate it. Like I said, let things work. They wrap around and make themselves a nice package sometimes, even when we don't see it. That's in life. That's in wrestling. Anyway, but here we go. The debut of Samoa Joe. The way Triple H with that promo, I mean, obviously set it up so perfect. The Joe attack. Joe, the monster he is. I expected Joe to be on SmackDown when he debuted just because I feel like the roster depth there could use a big boost maybe. Now, I love SmackDown. That's not saying that. But regardless, I thought it was very cool. I think Seth and Joe is going to be phenomenal when we get that, of course. Good stuff for me. It was a fantastic Raw. Fantastic post-Rumble Raw. Especially a fantastic post somewhat disappointing Rumble Raw. I won't say that as the whole, just the matchup. And you know, I've seen mostly that online, and that's fine. Sometimes we're going to be disappointed, but again, sometimes stuff works back around to wrap itself up quite nicely. So, for me and the hashtag AB Pitcher, we're going to get out of here, get this thing going. We're going to try to lock down a SmackDown, possibly a 205 Live one of these. Don't know for sure. Don't know who's going to be with me, with the AB Pitcher. You never know. Keep tuned to the Arson Brothers Network. Give us a subscribe. Click that little bell. Get notifications. I'm Matt Klein at Blue Turtle Grass on Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat. Look for the Arson Brothers page on Facebook, at Arson Brothers on Twitter. Again, the YouTube. And thank you very much. Sweet. See y'all later.